Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Welcome back, Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. It's your morning show. My name's Jason Bailey with Randy Cross and Kristen Ledlow on the, for real, swear to God he's here this time, on the WadeFord.com hotline. And let's say a big congratulations for getting the nod there to Cooperstown in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. It is Tom Glavine. How you doing, Tom?
Doing very well. How are you guys?
Excellent. On top of the world, man. Dude, what a killer thing. You know, you get the phone call and they say you got the nod for the Hall. Ever at one time since you got that phone call, do you have that survivor's guilt where you say, man, it should have been fill in the blank?
No, I don't think so.
No way.
Attaboy. Hey, you know,
I feel I'm honored and humbled, and I feel pretty proud. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be here.
How have the last, let's say, 36 hours, 48 hours or so been since then? Is it kind of a blur, or is it something you'll actually probably have to look back at and say, I might not appreciate this quite as well, now as I will in a few weeks?
Right. It's been a lot of fun. It has been a little bit crazy at times, but it's been a lot of fun. I guess it's the kind of thing that I've enjoyed it. And it, like I said, it's been a lot of fun, but I think probably somewhere down the road, maybe by the end of the weekend or beginning next week, whatever, when things kind of calm down a little bit, you'll look back and kind of appreciate some moments a little bit more maybe. But, it has been crazy, but not so crazy that I haven't been able to enjoy it.
Tom, what are your thoughts particularly on the voter who didn't want to vote in anybody from the steroid era of Major League Baseball?
Well, I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that continues to spark conversations as to whether or not the voting process should be changed. I understand why people don't want to cast votes for people that they suspect, and I get that, but to lump everybody else in and either assume that, we're all guilty by association, or assume that, well, because those guys did something and these guys were in that same era, then I'm going to treat them the same way. That doesn't make any sense to me. And, I think you have to be at least willing to look at it and be mindful of the guys who are not caught up in all that and separated themselves from all that, and treat them the way, they need to be treated in terms of giving them your consideration, and not just lump them in for the sake of lumping them in with everybody else.
Talking with Tom Glavine, pitching great Cooperstown bound here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. A lot of times when people look back on their careers and they say that there was maybe a time that it could have gone a different direction, and you've had an amazing career. Was there ever a time that maybe you almost quit the game, or there was a time that because you did something, it wouldn't have ended like this?
I think there were portions where, especially early on, where I don't, not that I ever got to the point where I wanted to quit, but I certainly questioned some things. I knew I had to figure some things out because it wasn't going really well. Either bad years or inconsistent up and down kind of years. So, there certainly was a time where I felt like I had to figure something out. Now, I don't think I ever thought I would figure it out to the degree that I did, and then ultimately have the success that I did. But, it's just one of those things where you try to identify what you have to be better at. You work at it. You try year in and year out to get a little bit better. And I was, obviously very fortunate that not only did I stay healthy and I was able to do a lot of those things, but I was able to do them on some pretty darn good teams. I had some good players that surrounded me for a lot of years, and that makes your job a little bit easier as well.
Hey, Tom, do you take a little bit more pride, just a little bit, extra oomph out of the fact that, between you and Mad Dog, Greg Maddux going in, you didn't throw 98 miles an hour. You weren't the modern pitchers, it seems. You got to be up above 95 to be considered as having, the throwing the gas or whatnot. But is it as much a compliment as it seems that both you guys are referred to as, artists instead of just pitchers?
Yeah, it does. I think that some guys today have that label of being, maybe a little bit more of a thrower than a pitcher. And I think for Greg and I, obviously our style was we pitched. We had to change speeds. We had to change locations. We had to do all those things. So Yeah, I think it lends itself to showing people that there's more than one way to get things done, and I hope that, especially in this day and age where, like you say, it seems if you don't throw 95, you're not getting much of a chance. I hope it at least gives some hope to kids out there, whether they be high school kids or kids in the minor leagues that are just kind of getting started, that, you can be different ways. You don't have to throw 95 miles an hour. So, yeah, I hope it, we're a little bit of the poster child, so to speak, for some of those kids that are out there, and it gives them hope to keep going.
Did you ever, Tom, think about, because of the steroid era that we were talking about, did you ever think that you had to do something to your body, whether to take something legally or illegally to even compete, maybe during an off year?
No, I don't think I did. I know I didn't. I mean, other than, an Advil or a cortisone shot, that was about the extent of what I was going to put in my body. I mean, to me, it was more of the fear of the unknown of what it was going to do to me personally than the benefit it could possibly ever have for me as a player. I mean, I think when along those lines, when you start thinking about that, at least for me anyway, I was more worried about my life after baseball, because I knew it was going to be much longer than my life as a baseball player was. So, I wanted to be able to enjoy all that stuff and that other crazy steroid stuff and whatever, all that stuff. Just it always scared me. The unknown always scared me. So it was never even an issue that I thought about even coming close to doing anything like that.
Achievement did you recognize this right here while you were playing baseball is a career that could go down in history?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of it.
Yeah, at what point was there a moment or a memory or a certain accomplishment that you reached along the way where you recognized that your career was one that Major League Baseball was going to remember?
You know what? I think you get to a point in your career where people start talking about you that way. They start writing articles, or you hear people talking on the radio. Well, hey, this guy might have a Hall of Fame career. If it keeps going, or he keeps doing what he's doing, or whatever. I think you hear that a little bit, but I think in your mind as a player, you're so focused on, at least I was, my next start or the next season or the current season, whatever the case may be. I think you tried to live in the here and the now and do everything you could at that time to be better or to continue success, and then hope that over time you build your resume and it's worthy of consideration. Certainly for me, once I got to the 250 win mark and I felt like 300 was at least an achievable goal, I think that's when I kind of started to think a little bit. But I knew, I knew ultimately I probably had to get at least the 300 wins to really think seriously about it.
Hey, Tom, I know you got to go. I wanted to ask you a quick question, just a quick answer on this. How come the PED stain sticks to players so hard when it comes to Hall of Fame, but managers it doesn't stick to? They may have guys through their career that have been associated with that, but it's not even a consideration when it comes to when they get voted on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it all boils down to the individual. You have to take responsibility for what you did and pay the price, so to speak. I think guys that are suspected are paying the price now, but I think it's one of those things that people are holding the individual responsible, not anybody who was around them.
Tom, just be honest with me. You've talked a little trash, right? You got the nod. You're going to Cooperstown. You called up like Smoltz or something like that, and you're like, dude, check it out. I mean, come on. That's what. This is fake. This radio conversation's fake. The boys, when you're not in you've talked some trash to your boys, right? Come on.
No, not yet. I probably will, but I haven't yet.
Yeah. It's not going to get to the point where he's not going to take a couple strokes aside from Smoltzy.
Yeah, it's
right.
Yes,
it's got it's like, hey, dude, you're up next. Look at your boy. I'm going to Cooperstown. Buy the T-shirt, right? One of those types of things, Tom.
It'll probably happen before too long, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, if you could tweet it out, I'm following you now, just because I'd like to see how that goes down.
Okay.
All right, you got to run.
Man.
We appreciate your time. Absolute honor to have you on. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you there. That's Tom Glavine. Join us on the WadeFord.com hotline. Really cool stuff, man. Congratulations. 10-time All-Star.
Isn't that wild? When you read his stats, for people that maybe weren't big fans of Glav or the Braves, and read that resume, it's like, wow.
Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.